We're now joined by Emmanuel Dupuy. He's the president of the Institute of Prospective and Security in Europe, joining us from Paris. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Hello.
So Israel is selling defense systems to Saudi Arabia. Could relations be any more normal than this?
Well, Saudi Arabia is United States, is selling weapons to Israel, while Iran is selling weapons to Russia. And this is important to have in mind, that this visit is occurring in a very tense international situation, where President Putin will be in a few days meeting with his counterparts from Turkey and Iran. And therefore this visit, which is historical in many ways. First, it is the first visit of Biden in the area. That's important to say. It is important to also acknowledge the fact that, on the contrary of Donald Trump, he makes his first visit in Israel, then in Palestine, then in Saudi Arabia, when President Donald Trump went first in Saudi Arabia, then after in Israel. And it's showcasing and confirming the fact that the United States wants to not only speak about oil, not only speak about Iran, not only speak about the real reason of this visit, which is the GCC Gulf Country Summit +3 in Jeddah, but also to assess the fact that the impact of the war in Ukraine obliges the United States to stand by its allies and its closest allies, and of course Israel is one of them.
It also means that the U.S. wants to perhaps guarantee the supply of Saudi oil. As we know, China, for example, has an agreement with Iran for the next 25 years on a fixed price. Do you think there would be a similar announcement with regards to a deal between Washington and Riyadh this coming visit?
Not sure, because this has already been pushed and already been asked by France. This was already the case during the G7 summit in Schloss Elm 2 weeks ago, when France asked Saudi to increase its production, which Saudi Arabia does not want to do, on the contrary of the United Arab Emirates. But of course, it's important to have in mind that President Joe Biden is also thinking about domestic issues, and of course the increase of the price of oil is for the United States a crucial vision. But of course this brings us to consider the fact that the United States and Saudi Arabia have this special agenda on their mind. But again, the visit is not only about Joe Biden having more, let's say, normal relations with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, which he did not want to acknowledge as a normal leader. We do have in mind that since the Khashoggi case in 2018, Joe Biden was very hard on Saudi Arabia, even calling it a pariah state. So there are a lot of elements in this visit in Israel, in Palestine, and in Saudi Arabia. But what has to be taken, I think, in a global perspective, is the fact that Joe Biden wants to show that he's not only pivoting to Asia, he's not only reconfirming his position in Europe on behalf of the Ukraine crisis, but Middle East, west of Asia, is still on top of the diplomatic agenda of the United States.
And you mentioned the alliance between Russia and Iran, for example. On the other hand, you have perhaps a regional moderate military alliance, including Israel, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, the Gulf countries. What could a regional military alliance like that mean for the Middle East as it faces the challenge of Iran and even the challenge of Russia?
Well, this idea of a Arab NATO, if we can call it that way, is not the idea of Joe Biden. It's the idea of Donald Trump. And he tried to push this idea during his mandate, and it was never acknowledged as a very serious perspective. What has changed, as you mentioned, is the Ukraine crisis, and therefore the need to build a robust, solid alliance amongst NATO partners. This was, of course, the case during the Istanbul process, since the Istanbul process, which was launched in the mid of the 90s, but it's never been very institutionalized. What I think Joe Biden is pushing is to have a southeast pillar including countries from the Gulf countries. Of course, you name some of them. You can add Jordan as well. You can add Lebanon, and of course, the countries who have signed the Abraham Agreement, namely Bahrain and United Arab Emirates, and not to forget Oman and Kuwait. But
okay.
The important issue there is what you make of this alliance. Is this alliance an alliance to contain Russia? Is this alliance in Russia, which is of course a key partner in the area, or is this alliance meaning that you have to create a solidarity against the adversary, which is called Iran?
We shall see.
Not very clear
We shall see, and hopefully we'll hear more about that in this visit. Thank you very much, Emmanuel Dupuy in Paris.